morning, Chicago Cubs fans, and we are back with another edition of Cubs Daily. My name is Steven Ryan. The Cubs absolutely get obliterated yesterday by the red-hot White Sox. Ironic, as the team just continues to look sluggish out there towards the end of July, but we get another chance today. That's the beauty of baseball. We'll talk about that game. We're going to preview the next game as well. And of course, we had some trades go down yesterday as well, kind of defining the price for certain players. So we're going to break all that down and more right here on Cubs Daily. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure if you're enjoying the content to smash that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate every single one of you guys and gals. And of course, please feel free to comment and share your thoughts on who the Cubs should be getting at the trade deadline. We are 5 days away from it, and it's going to be an exciting ride to the end of July on this one. So let's get into it. Ryan McMahon of the Rockies, who, again, if you remember earlier this year, the Cubs were rumored to be trading for as well, has officially been dealt to the New York Yankees. Now, the Yankees were one of the suitors that were in on Eugenio Suarez, but they found their third baseman in a different light. And I think this is a great fit for the Yankees. That's for a completely different video, though. Let's talk about price, okay? The price for Mr. Ryan McMahon, who does have a couple years of control on him as well. He's also struggling, but he's pretty much been a very solid third baseman throughout most of his career. The pitchers that were traded were Griffin Herring and Josh Gross from the Yankees. It's a left-hander and a right-hander. Mr. Herring was the Yankees' number 8 prospect, and Gross was the number 21 prospect. So again, no top 10 prospects within an organization have been dealt yet. Again, we got to keep remembering that, right? The prices on these players are not as high in value as we like to think, and they're definitely not as low as we like to think. It goes on both sides there. So again, I think if the Cubs are going to go out and get the likes of an Eugenio Suarez and a Merrill Kelly, it's not going to cost us as much as you might think. Because again, we had the deal the other day, right, for Josh Naylor. He costed the number 13 and number 16 prospect in the Mariners organization. Not really that big of a deal as well. So this is number 8 and number 21 for the Yankees. The Mets also acquired left-hander reliever Gregory Soto from the Orioles. So deals are starting to fall by the wayside a little bit. I'm curious as to see what else could happen in today's market, right? So let's talk about the fallout, right? The Yankees were one of the competitors in for Suarez. I do remember that. I also talked about it in the video yesterday that the Mariners might be out. Well, according to a new report, the Mariners still might be in on Suarez. So with the Yankees getting McMahon, I'm guessing they're not going to go after Suarez as hard because they don't need a third baseman anymore. So that's going to leave the Cubs, the Brewers, the Reds, and I'm going to put the Mariners in there, but they're kind of more like a fourth. I think their lineup looks solid on paper. They just kind of needed to execute at this point. So I'm guessing they might pitch an offer for Suarez if the right deal is there, but I'm not sure if they're going to go over the top to go and get him in that sense. So, you know, whoever can offer the most compelling package for Suarez is who's going to get him. So I think this is a great chance for the Cubs to kind of sell on those mid-teens prospects. Give Arizona 3 or 4 of those mid-teens prospects, especially the ones that are due up in the next year or two, and go get Merrill Kelly and Suarez. They're both rentals. They're not going to cost a lot. Go and get him. He is there for the taking for the Chicago Cubs, which is what you like to see. But I can imagine Arizona is going to wait until the very, very, very last minute to leverage as much out of any team that might want to overpay for him as possible, right? The Diamondbacks are looking to probably move on from 5 or 6 players on their roster, all of them on very, very short-term deals, right? So they already moved Josh Naylor. They're going to be looking to move Suarez. They're going to look to move their 2 starting pitchers, Gallen and Kelly, and then they're going to take on any other calls regarding their outfielders not named Corbin Carroll. So I think pretty much the Diamondbacks are open for business except for Ketel Marte and Corbin Carroll, which totally makes sense. So, the more and more we get closer to the end of this trade deadline, the more it feels like to me that the Cubs' top 5 prospects are not going anywhere. And Cubs fans, don't let that define you as going all in either, right? I mean, we talked about this offense. It's kind of looks sluggish. Ian Happ is on just an absolutely miserable pace right now. Do I think he'll turn it around? Yes, by proxy, because as I've been saying recently, especially regarding this Brewers hot streak, all water will find its level. Ian Happ is a way better hitter than he's been hitting, but again, to what degree? Could Owen Casey come up and provide a spark for this offense that we so desperately need? I think it's possible. So if we don't trade him at the deadline, his ass better be up and helping the Chicago Cubs team win ball games, because that is what we need right now. Because after yesterday's absolute disaster, I don't know. Again, over the course of 162, I'm not too stressed. You don't just like to watch your team get blown out. Again, it's kind of like, I don't want to say the Cubs are going in opposite direction, because they're not. They're kind of piddling more like slightly above 500. But the White Sox are playing incredible baseball since the All-Star break. They're averaging a lot of runs per game. The kids are figuring it out over there, and kudos to them. That's really exciting, because last year they were kind of a team with no direction in the disaster. This year, the first half was disastrous, but now those kids are coming up and they're starting to figure it out, and they're winning ball games because of it. That's a fun portion of the team to watch, no doubt. So again, the Cubs as a team just needs to chalk it up as a loss, right? We got Cade Horton going on the mound tonight. We'll talk about that here in a moment. Sometimes when you're watching baseball, ladies and gentlemen, you just know it's not going to be your night. I believe it was the 4th inning yesterday, and it was tough to watch, right? We're down 5-0. We get we get 2 runners on, and then PCA comes up. I think we had 2 runners on and 1 out, and then PCA flew out to the warning track. He put a good ride into it, a good drive into it, and it just fell short, right? And then the next play, actually, no, it was nobody out. It was nobody out, excuse me. Then Ian Happ grounded into a double play, and you're just like, what are we gonna do? We can't even manufacture 1 run against this woeful White Sox team, again, who's playing very well. But sometimes you can just tell it's not your night, and that is exactly what happened, because in the bottom half of that inning, Austin Slater absolutely drilled a home run to center field. So it's just the way it goes sometimes. Shota did not have his best stuff. Again, that is why I am very pressed on a true number 1 ace. When I say that, like, I don't mean disrespectful to Justin Steele or Shota Imanaga, but the thing with those guys is that the occasional guy, they still get lit up every once in a while, which again, part of Major League Baseball, right? I'm talking about a guy who strikes fear into the opponent, right? Even with the Pirates, if I know I'm going against Paul Skeens, I know it's going to be a bloodbath of a game, okay? If I'm going against Tariq Skubal, I know it's going to be an absolute nightmare to deal with him. So again, that's my point in all of this, ladies and gentlemen, is I want the Cubs to have a true number 1. I think if Shota was our number 2, Boyd number 3, going into a playoff series, that's absolutely fantastic. But where we're at right now, we just need more. So we're going to move on from that game. We're going to preview game 2 right here, right now. Again, we're going to have Cade Horton on the bump. He's going to be going against Aaron Savale for the White Sox. Again, another nice acquisition for this White Sox team going into the middle of the year. Now, the Cubs do need to bounce back yesterday. They didn't lose any ground yesterday because they played the Marlins, right? Or because the Brewers lost to the Marlins, but we can't bank on that, right? So, for the Brewers specifically, they got Quintana, who's been very good for them, and the Marlins have Junk going out there for him, who's been surprisingly really good. Look at the Marlins staff. Besides Sandy Alcantara, their starters have been pretty solid, and, their offense has just been really hit or miss. So that team's metering towards 500 as well. So Cubs need to go out and get a W today. Orton versus Savali. Can the lineup bounce back? I do enjoy this team a lot, especially after a loss. I think it realigns their focus. It kind of pokes the line a little bit, and I think that's where the Cubs can strike and do some damage to this White Sox team. So again, another fun stat that I heard earlier is that the Cubs have never been swept in a series this year. Not for not, that's a pretty good stat. So I do imagine that the Cubs will get back on track here against the White Sox. It starts at 6:10 Central tonight. Make sure you guys are locked in and ready to go. And hopefully let's get this W. Go Cubs and go Marlins. We'll talk more tomorrow with hopefully some more rumors and news and Cubs notes. Have a great rest of your day.